So again, good morning, everyone. So we have started about scheduling resources and we are basically going through a procedures, right? So we have to create the project network. We have done that and develop the resource loading table. We have to develop the resource loading table, that also we done, and determine the late finish time, that also we done, and identify the over allocation. So after doing the late finish time, we have initially draw the loading chart, and after the as the final stage you have to done the level of resource loading table. So I have draw the network diagram with you, and I have complete the resource loading chart. So are you all can you remember we have done those part, right? Can you remember? So we have, right, thank you, Aisha. So we have load the resources for this table, and we have create the initial loading chart. So up to this point we have completed. So after doing the initial loading chart, you have to rearrange activities within their Slack to create more level profile. So after drawing the initial chart, so I will share my screen. It's better to share my screen. No? So we have done up to this initial loading chart, right? So now we want to what? We want now to rearrange activities within their Slack to create a more level profile. Now we are wanting to rearrange our activities to make a level profile, right? So that is the thing now we are going to do. We have now drawn the initial loading chart. So are you all clear with the how to draw an initial loading chart? I'm sure you are clear, right? This part we have completed up to this part, right? And you have to assume that we are having only 8 people, right? We are only having 8 people, and you can see in the initial loading chart, we are going up to what? We are going up to so you can see you have to assume that we are having only 8 people, right? That is the constraint. So the resources are constrained for us, but you can see there is a increase for that, right? Hello, can you see that? We have utilized the 9 members, 9 people in the initial loading chart. Therefore, we have to now level our resources, right? So when we are leveling our resources, first you have to see the Slack, right? So I will start with the activity A. So the activity A, you can see the activity A is consuming 6 resources and duration is 4. So the duration is 4 here, and the duration is 4 here. The duration is 4 here. I have drawn up to the 4, and the resources utilized by the activity A is 6, right? I have drawn this A activity now. So nextly, you are having what? B and C activity both. So after seeing the B and C activity, so what is the activity you are going to select? Among the B and C activity. So B activity is wanting resources of 2 and the duration is 1. C activity is wanting resources of 2 and the duration is 3. Right? So when you are going to select this B and C activity, you can see the B and C activity can immediately start. After finishing of A activity, you can immediately start B and C both activity. So among these two activities, which activity you are going to select first? Among these two activity, you can see the duration is 1 for the B activity and the duration is 3 for the C activity, right? So among these two activity, you have to select the highest, right? You have to select the highest activity, right? So that's why we are taking the C activity first in the initial loading chart. So initial loading chart, we have select the C activity because it is having the highest duration, right? So as it is having the highest duration, we are going to start the C activity in the initial loading chart. Then after we are go for the B activity. But now here you can see due to the C activity starting off, firstly, the higher number of people are utilizing because of that reason, right? දැන් අපි මෙතනදී පුතේ initial loading chart එක අඳිනකොට B සහ C activity දෙකෙන් එකක් අපිට පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන්නේ. එතකොට අපි duration එක වැඩිපුරම තියෙන එක බලලා තමයි මුලින්ම පටන් ගන්න initial loading chart එකේදී. ඉතින් අපි C activity එක මුලින් කරලා ඊළඟට B activity එකට ගියා. හැබැයි දැන් අපිට මේකෙදී කිව්වා අපිට ළඟ ඉන්න resources අපිට තියෙන්නේ 8 විතරයි කියලා. එතකොට මෙතන ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පේනවා 9th වෙනකන් යනවා. 9 people ලා නැහැ අපිට. එහෙනම් අපි මේ resource loading chart එක level කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඔයා දකින්න පුළුවන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට දැන් මේ C activity එක consume කරලා තියෙනවා 2 resources, right? ඒ 2 resources consume කරලා ඒ වගේම යාට duration එකක් 3ක් ගිහිපු හින්දා මේ D activity එක 9th වෙනකම් වැඩි වෙලා. හරිද? එහෙනම් එතනින් තමයි අපි level කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒකින්ද we are going to start B activity first. So the B activity is consuming the duration of 1. It means 4 to 5. And the resources are 2. So we are now done with the A activity. We are now done with the A activity and we are now go for the B activity. So B activity is starting from the 4 and the duration is 1. Therefore, it is 5. And the resources utilization is 2, right? And you can see the C activity. C activity is having what? Slack of 4. දැන් මේ C activity එකට ඔයාලට පේනවා slack එක 4 තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ආගේ early start time එක 4ෙන් පටන් ගන්න ඕන වුණාට slack එක 4 තියෙනවා කියන්නේ we can delay that activity by 4 days. That means you can start your activity. Not by the 4th day, you can start your activity by the 8th day because we are having 4 slack for the C activity. So did you all clear about that? Hello. Only Ayesha is there, right? Okay, thank you, Ayesha. So C activities is having 4 slack. Therefore, we can delay the C activity by 4 days. Therefore, instead of starting the C activity by 4, we can start the C activity by 8. So after starting C activity by 8, you have to go for the duration of 3. It means 8, 9, 10, 11. Up to 11 you have to go. And the resources utilization is 2, right? So then after you can start the D activity, right? So after finishing off the B activity itself, you can start the D activity, right? Therefore, I will start with the 5. 5 day, and I can go up to the 8 day. So for the D activity, you can see the duration is 4. So from 5 to duration is 4 means from 5 to duration is 4 means we have to go up to 9. දැන් අපි මෙතන 5න් පටන් ගන්නවා කියන්නේ අපිට තව duration 4ක් ඕන වෙනවා D activity එකට. එහෙනම් 5 ඉඳන් 4ට අපිට 9th වෙනකන් යන්න වෙනවා duration එක D activity එකේ. ඒ වගේම resource utilization එක D activity එකේ 7. So I can go for the 7th, and until in 8 to 9 there is a we have started the C activity, right? Therefore we have to again exceed the 8 people. Again we have to exceed the 8 people, and again it is goes up to 9 for this 8 to 9 project days, right? Then I will go for the E activity. E activity is also having 0 slack. Therefore, you have to complete that E activity. E activity early start is 9. So I will start with this, and the duration is 2. So 9 to 2 means up to 11 you have to go, and the resource utilization is 3. I am here in 2. So until 5 I have to go. And I can start now the F activity. So the early start time is 11 here. For that 11, you have to add a duration of 1, and the resources are 6. So Ayesha, are you clear with the second resource loading chart, Puta? Ayesha or others? So please draw this resource loading chart with me, right? So you can see, Putan, we are again exceeding the 8 number of people. We are again in the 9th. We want 9 people. So we are not having that much of people. Therefore, we have to again level this loading chart. Therefore, you can see that the issue is here, right? The issue is here means we have to delay the C activity again by 1 day. If we are again delaying the C activity by 1 day, means we can level our resources. So as it is, you can draw the A activity. As it is, B activity you can draw, and you can draw the D activity starting from 5 to 9. Up to 9 you can draw the D activity. After that, you are shifting this C activity from starting date of 8 to you are shifting that for the 9th date. After shifting the C for the 9th date, so C activity, how much of duration? C activity duration is 3, and the resources are 2. So the duration is 3 means 9, 10, 11, 12. Up to 12 you have to go, and the resources are 2. And then after you can start the E activity for the 9 to 11, and the resources are how much for the E activity? 3. So the resources are 3. And you can start the F activity. So now you can see the resources are 8 people. Now we are within that level. We are not exceeding the resource constraint, right? So you can see we are having 8 people, right? But we are actually want what? We are actually wanting how many people, Puta? We are actually having 8 people, but after leveling this resource loading chart, how many people we are having? කීයක් ඉන්නවද පුතේ දැන් people ලා? මේ loading chart එක ගැන මම අහන්නේ. Right, very good. Diane and Randi has sent the message. So thank you very much. So we are having the 7th people. We are actually having 8 people, but we want 7 people. So after leveling this resource loading chart, we have 1 excess people. That means 1 people is idling. One people is idling means you can use that one people to do the another project. After leveling this project, we are having one people idling, and that people can be used for you to do another project. So that is for the resource loading chart. So up to here, are you all clear? If not, please ask me. I will go do this only this question for you as a resource loading chart. So if I have more time at the end after completing all the lessons, if I have some time, I can give you some question to practice. But in the examination, please remember that I can give you to draw the project network, and I can ask you to draw the resource loading chart. So when I am asking you to draw the resource loading chart, you have to draw the initial loading chart, and you have to then level the resource loading chart, right? So the resource loading chart, after leveling the resource loading chart, you have to come to the last resource loading chart, right? So this is for the resource loading chart, right? So are you all clear with this resource loading chart? So because I am asking now, I want to move for the resource leveling chart, right? So please remember that at your examination, I can ask to draw the resource loading chart. If I am asking the resource loading chart, you have to first draw the initial loading chart, and you have to show how you are going to level that loading chart step by step, right? So according to this question, I have to use 3 steps: initial loading chart, again loading chart, and again the final loading chart. So at the end, I have told you we have 8 people, but we are only utilizing 7 people. That means we are having the idle of 1 people. That 1 people, that people with idling can use for the other project. Like that way you have to write down. දැන් මේ resource loading chart එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ අන්දට පස්සේ දැන් 8 people නේ ඉන්නේ. හැබැයි මට actually ඕන වෙන්නේ 7 people. ඒ කියන්නේ එක පුද්ගලයෙක් idling වෙනවා. ඒ පුද්ගලයා එහෙනම් අපිට මොකද්ද කරන්න පුළුවන්? We can shift that people to the other project. So likewise, at the examination also, after loading the resource loading chart, you can comment. You can provide your comment as well. So I can ask you at the exam, draw the resource loading chart and comment, right? So for that comment also, I am allocating you marks. Therefore, for the comment, you have to write down like that way, right? Okay, so I will move to the resource leveling chart now, right? So I will move to the resource leveling chart. So it is little bit difficult, actually not difficult. If you figure it out, what is the steps that you have to do, you can do this project management. So ඇත්තටම මේ project management කියන subject එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ හරියට steps ටික අඳුනගෙන මොන step එකද කරන්න ඕනි කියන එක අඳුනගත්තොත් හරියම මේ පහසුවෙන් කරන්න පුළුවන්, right? දැන් මෙතෙන්ට වෙනකන් කරපු පාඩම් වලදී ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඒක තේරුණාද? ඔයා හරියට steps ටික දන්නවා නම් ඔයාට මේ අඳින එක project network අඳින එක හැම දෙයක්ම critical path identify කරන එක හැම දෙයක්ම කරන්න ලේසි කියලා තේරුණාද? තාම නැද්ද? Right. So please come to the lecture. So at least I think today most of the students will see my recording. And if you are attending for the lectures continuously, and if you are doing the things that I am asking you to do continuously, that means you are up to the level, and you can easily done the things that I am asking for you at the examination. So at home, please make sure to practice those things. Make sure to practice this question. So if you are practicing this question, means you will definitely can get a very good grade for your exam, right? But please, you have to follow the steps that I am telling for you to follow, right? So now I am going for the resource leveling chart, right? So we have now completed up to resource loading chart. I have done the resource loading chart and complete, right? Now I am going to explain about the resource leveling chart, right? For the resource leveling chart, you have to assume that you are having this kind of project network, right? So for that project network, this is the project network, right? For this project network, can you all draw this project network by getting 1 to 2 minutes? Huh? Can you see this project network, Buddha? Please take 1 to 2 minutes and draw this project network. So in this project network, Buddha, this is the legend, right? Early start time, IED, late start time, again slack, both this left hand side and the right hand side slack is there. The middle is resources, the time or the duration, and early finish and late finish. So please draw this project network quickly. So after drawing this project network, please indicate me, right? Actually, I want to finish this handout today itself, right? So please do it quickly. If we are able to finish off our lesson beforehand the end of the semester, means we can allocate some time to discuss some tutorial question, right? That means if you are practicing tutorial question, means you can be confident enough to do the examination paper. That's why I am asking you to do it quickly, right? When you are done with this project network, when you are draw this project, I think it is enough time, right? Have you all draw this project network? Let's fill the blanks. Let's fill the blanks, Putha. Do you want more time? Yes, mean what? Do you want more time? Right. The two people are finished, right? So I think enough time. So we will let's fill this blank. So early start time for the activity A is 0. So you have to add this 2 here. Therefore, the late start is 2. And this 2 is going for here. And 6 plus 2 means 8. You have to fill this forward pass calculation and backward pass calculation, right? So again 2 here, add 4, it means 6. Again 2 here, add 4, add 2 means 4. So based on that, you have to take 6 here. Again 2 means 8. You have to add 6. 4 means 10. So based on the forward pass calculation, you have to take the highest value. The highest value is 4, 10, 8, 8. So the highest value is 10. So you are getting 10 here, adding 2 is 12. Sorry, 12. And I'm now doing the backward pass calculation. So 10 here, 8 here. So 10 here, minus 4, 6 here. So based on this backward pass calculation, you have to take the lower value among 6 and 8. The lower value is 6 here. 6 minus 4 means 2. And again, you have to take this 10 here. 10 minus 2 is 8. And for here, it is 10. 10 minus 6 means 4. Based on the backward pass calculation, you have to take the lowest value, 4, 2, 8. The lowest value is 2. 2 minus 2 means 0. So the slacks are 0. No need to fill this the right hand side slack. It is better to fill, if you can just fill. So those answers are both the answers are same, right? Slack time I am filling now. Two here, again 2, 0, 0, 0, and 0. So have you completed the diagram, project network diagram, after filling all these early start, late start, early finish, late finish, slack? If so, please indicate. Right. Diane has finished. Others? If others, have you all finished? Please indicate. Right. Aisha is also finished. Right. Right, so thank you very much for responding for me. Right, now we are going to level, resource leveling chart, right? Now we are going to level our resource leveling chart. Before that, can you all identify what is the critical path here? Critical path means the activities which is having 0 slack, right? So this is having 0 slack, and this is having the activity tree is having 0 slack, and activity 6 is having 0 slack, and activity 10 is having 0 slack. So I have highlighted the critical path in red color, right? Have you all done that? Identifying the critical path and highlighting the critical path. Right. So thank you. So up to this point, after drawing the project network and after completing all the forward pass calculation and backward pass calculation, then after you can identify the critical path, right? I have identified the critical path. Now we are going to learn about how to level, how to draw a resource leveling chart, right? That is the thing now you are going to learn. So in resource leveling chart, basically you are having, you have to have what? You have to have, this is the resource leveling chart. So in resource leveling chart, you have to remember these 3 rules. Firstly, you have to take the minimum slack, and the second rule is minimum duration, and the third rule is the lowest identification number. So in these 3 rules, you have to go one by one. First, you have to see the minimum slack. The secondly, you have to see the minimum duration and the lowest identification number, right? So in the resource leveling chart, you have to take your activity, right? According to this example, you are having 7th activity. Therefore, I have write down activity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Then after, you have to write down your slack time, right? Then after, you have to write down your slack time. So the slack times are, you can see. Hello, are you all doing with me? So first you have to write down your activity, and then you have to write down your slack, right? So in writing down the slack, you can see for the activity A, slack is how much? The slack is 0, right? For the activity 2, the slack is again 2. Sorry, for the activity 2, slack is 2, right? So I have write down that 2. And for the activity 3, slack is 0, 0. And for the activity 4, slack is 6, right? For the activity 5, slack is 2. And for the activity 6, slack is 0. And for the activity 7, slack is 0. So have you all done up to the writing down the slack part? If so, please indicate. Please unmute your mic and talk. Just say yes. It is easy, right? Okay, so Ayesha has finished, and after that you have to you have to write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? You have to write down. I have write down up to 40, right? So actually the total time we are needing is 12, but it can go longer. Therefore, I have write down up to 40. All right. So in Slack, you can see now the project network is not wanting us. Therefore, I am going for down. So you can see there are having several Slack here. You are having several Slack. For the activity 2, the slack is 2. So as the next step, I have highlighted the slack time, which is having slack. So the 0 slacks I do not highlight, but the slack, the activity 2 is having 2 slack. Therefore, I have highlighted, right? And 6 and 2 I have highlighted. Then after, I am going to load that resource level. Now I am going to do the resource leveling chart, right? So in resource leveling chart, you can see for the activity A, we are need how much? We are needing 2 people. We are needing 2 people for the 2 duration, right? අපිට මේ activity එකකට මේ පුද්ගලයෝ දෙන්නෙක් අවශ්‍යයි ඒ activity 1 එක කරන්න, duration එක 2. So these දැන් මේ මෙතන අපි ලිව්ව 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 ඒ මොනවද? උඩ ලියපු ඉලක්කම් ටික ඒව තමයි duration, right? ඒව මොනවද? duration. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට අවශ්‍ය වෙනවා පුද්ගලයන් දෙන්නෙක්, right? So if we are needing 2 people for 2 days, therefore I am writing 2 here for the 1. Under 1 I am writing 2 here. Under 2 also I am writing 2 because I need 2 people for 2 days, right? Then after I will go for the second activity. So the second activity, if I go, that is also requiring 2 people for the 6 days, right? So that is also requiring 2 people for the 6th day, right? So 2 people are requiring. So this is the end of this second day. That means we are starting with the second day end, right? So the early start time is 2 here. So you can write 2 people for the 6 days. 1, 2. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are needing 2 people. We are needing 2 people for 6 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? And for the activity 2, we are having 2 slacks as well. Therefore, the slacks can be indicated in red. I have indicated the slacks in red and we are having 2 slacks. Therefore, 1 and 2. These are I have highlighted in red color. So have you get that point, Puta? එක තේරුණාද? Activity 2 එක මං කොහොමද resource allocate කරේ කියන එක? Right. Only Aisha is responding. What about others? If you are not clear about that, please tell me. I will. Right. So we have now completed the activity 2 as well. So I will go for the third activity. So third activity is having a 0 slack, and it is also having the early start time of 2. Therefore, I am starting from here. So it is needing 2 people for 4 days. So I am writing 2 people needed for 4 days. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it is not having any slack. Therefore, I am not going to highlight this any of these cells. So I can go for the fourth activity. The fourth activity is requiring 1 people and for the 2 days, right? So 1 people. So early start time is 2. Therefore, I can start here. So 1 people for 2 days. 1, 1. And it is having 6 slack, right? Slacks are 6. Therefore, you can highlight 6 cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 cells are highlighted as slack, right? So are you all clear with the activity 4? If so, please indicate quickly. Please unmute your mic and tell me yes. It is easy for me as well. Are you all clear? Up. Okay. Right. So I will go for the fifth activity. Right. In fifth activity, you can see there is a 2 slack. So there is a 2 slack. And what is the early start time for the fifth activity? It is 6. Therefore, I have to start from here, the end of 6. Right. This is the 6. Therefore, I will start from here, and it is requiring 1 people. It is requiring 1 people for the fifth activity. Fifth activity I have not done, no? So it is 6, right? So fifth activity it is 6 and it is requiring 1 people for 2 days. Therefore 1 and 2, and it is having 2 slack. Therefore I have highlighted 2 cells as red. So I will go for the 6th activity. 6th activity is having 0 slack. And the early start time is 6. Therefore, I will start here 1, and the people are requiring 1 people for 4 days. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 days are requiring. And I will move for the 7th activity. So the 7th activity, what is the early start time? It is 10. 10 means this is the point. And it is requiring 1 people for 2 days. There means 1 here and 1 here. So you can see the late finish. What is that? Late finish is 12 here, right? So I have completed up to this. Right? So I think you are clear about the resource, how you are now loading. This is the initial thing that you have to do. After loading this and after indicating the slack in the first one, you have to find out the total requirement, right? So in total requirement, what I have done? I have taken the summation of all these activity. How many people I am requiring for the first day? I am requiring only 2 people. So likewise, for each of these days, you have to calculate the requirement. You have to calculate the requirement for each of these days. Right? So have you all calculated the total requirement? After calculating total requirement, please indicate. Have you all calculated the total requirement? Right, finish. Right, so after calculating the total requirement, according to this question, they are telling that we have to assume we have only 3 people. We are only having 3 people. So that is a resource constraint project. So you can see for third day, we are requiring 5 people. For the fifth day, likewise, there are several days we are requiring more than 3 people. Therefore, we have to level this chart now, right? So when we are going to level this chart, we have to see our slack. right? දැන් අපිට පේනවා මේගොල්ලන්ගේ මේ question එකේදී මේකේ දීලා තියෙන්නේ අපිට ඉන්නේ පුද්ගලයෝ 3 දෙනයි කියලා. resources ලා තියෙන්නේ 3යි කියලා. ඒ වුණාට අපිට දැන් පේනවා මේ සමහරක් third day එකේ fourth day එකේ fifth day එකේ 6 7 8 days වල resources අපිට වැඩිපුර ඕනේ 4 5 ඕනේ. අපිට ඒක කරන්න බෑ because we are having a resource constraint. Therefore, we have to level this chart now, right? So when we are leveling this chart, first you have to see the slack, right? මුලින්ම level කරනකොට ඔයා බලන්න ඕනේ slacks. හරිද? slacks මොනවද තියෙන්නේ කොහොමද අපි level කරන්නේ කියලා තමයි බලන්නේ. right? So you have to remember there are 3 rules when we are doing the resource leveling chart. Minimum slack, minimum duration. If you are not getting the minimum slack rule, you can go for the second rule. If you are not getting that rule also, you can go for the third rule. දැන් මේ resource leveling chart එක කරනකොට අපිට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම rules 3ක් තියෙනවා. මුලින්ම ඔයා බලන්න ඕනේ slacks කිහිපයක් තියෙනවා නම් minimum slack එක තියෙන්නේ මොකටද? ඒ minimum slack එක තියෙන එක තමයි ඔයා select කරන්න ඕනේ. ඊට පස්සේ හැම minimum slack එකක් නැහැ. හැම activity එකටම තියෙන එකම slack එක නම් එහෙමනම් ඒ කියන්නේ හැම activity එකටම තියෙන එකම slack එක නම් තමයි ඔයාට යන්න වෙන්නේ දෙවෙනි rule එකට. දෙවෙනි rule එකේ මොකද තියෙන්නේ? minimum duration. ඒ rule එකෙත් අපි බලන activities ඔක්කොටම තියෙන්නේ එකම duration එක නම් අපිට minimum duration එකක් ගන්න බෑ. එහෙනම් අපි යනවා third rule එකට. third rule එක වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? lowest identification number. දැන් අපි මේ වලට numbers දුන්නනේ පුතේ 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 කියලා activity වලට. එහෙනම් දැන් අපි හිතුවොත් 1 and 2 activities තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒ 1 and 2 activities වල එහෙනම් lowest identification number එක වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? 1 එකද 2 එකද? I am asking a question. තේරුම් නැද්ද ඒක? දැන් අපි resource leveling chart එක හදනකොට පුතේ අපිට rules 3ක් තියෙනවා. හරිද? rules 3 තමයි minimum slack. ඔන්න දැන් අපිට තියෙනවා ඔයා හිතන්න activity 1 and 2. ඒ activity 1 and 2 එකේ ඔන්න activity A එකට තියෙනවා slack එක 2ක්. activity 2 එකට තියෙනවා අපි ගමුකො මෙහෙම. activity 2 and 3 තියෙනවා. හරිද? activity 2 එකයි 3 එකයි තියෙනවා. activity 2 එකේ slack එක 1යි. activity 3 එකේ slack එක 5යි. එහෙනම් එතනින් minimum slack එක වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? minimum slack එක තියෙන activity එක මොකද්ද? activity 2 එකේ 1යි. activity 3 එකේ 5යි නම් slack. minimum slack එක තියෙන activity එක මොකද්ද? activity 2. activity Diana මං කිව්වේ right activity 2 සහ 3 කියලා activities දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකෙන් activity 2 එකට තියෙන්නේ slack එක නම් activity 3 එකට slack එක 5ක් තියෙනවා නම් අපි first rule එකට යනවා නම් minimum slack එක තියෙන්නේ activity 2 එකේ. ඊට පස්සේ අපි හිතමුකෝ ඔය activity 2 and 3 වල slack එක දෙකේම තියෙන්නේ 2. එහෙනම් minimum slack එකක් අපිට හොයන්න බෑ එතන. එතකොට තමයි අපි යන්නේ minimum duration. ඊට පස්සේ බලනවා activity 2 සහ 3 වල duration එක අඩුවෙන් තියෙන්නේ මොකක්ද? ඒ duration එකත් අඩුවෙන් තියෙන එකක් නැත්තම් ඒ කියන්නේ එකම duration එක නම් ඒ activities දෙකටම තියෙන්නේ. එහෙනම් අපි යන්න ඕනේ lowest identification number එකට. lowest identification number එක නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම තියෙනවා. activity 2 and 3 ගත්තම lowest identification number එක තියෙන්නේ මොකටද? activity 2 and 3 ගත්තම lowest identification number එක තියෙන්නේ මොකටද? lowest identification number එක කියන්නේ පුතේ දැන් activity 2 එකට කියන්නේ number එක 2. activity 3 එකට තියෙන number එක තමයි 3. එහෙනම් මේ දෙකෙන් lowest වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? lowest වෙන්නේ මේ දෙකෙන් 2. activity 3 නෙමෙයි lowest identification number එක කියන්නේ පුතේ දැන් අපි activity 2 3 ගත්තොත් ඒ numbers දෙකෙන් activity 2 and 3 එකේ lowest එක වෙන්නේ 2 එක. Right? Okay. So these are the 3 rules that you have to follow. But when you are following these 3 rules, first you have to go from the first rule. If the first rule is not working, you can go for the second rule. If the second rule is not working, you can go for the third rule, right? So you have to go in order for these 3 rules. Now we have drawn our first leveling chart, and we have now identified the slack as well, and we have highlighted those slack. So now I'm going to level that resources, right? So you can see for the first day and the second day, there is no any issue because we are having 2 people. To do this project, we are only have 3 people, and for the first day and second day, we are having 2 people, means that is okay. Therefore, for the activity 1, you can write down 2 and 2 for the first day and the second day, right? Then අපිට activity 1 එකට පුතේ ඔයා බැලුවම activity 1 එකේ පළවෙනි දවස සහ දෙවෙනි දවස බැලුවම total requirement එක 2 තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට resources 3 තියෙනවා. ඒකින්ද ඒක issue එකක් නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාට activity 1 එක 1 and 2 days වල ලියන්න මේ සිදු කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So I will go for now the second activity. So when I am going for the second activity, you can see the resource requirement is 5 here, right? So the resource requirement is 5. So can we do that resource requirement for 5? අපිට තියෙන මිනිස්සු ඉන්නේ 3 දෙනයි. එහෙනම් අපිට resource requirement 5 දක්වා යන්න බෑ. Right? එහෙනම් අපි මොකද්ද කරන්න ඕනේ? We have to find out the minimum slack, right? When we are going to find out the minimum slack, so you can see 2, 3 and 4. 2, activity 2, activity 3 and activity 4 are parallel activity. Activity 2, 3 and 4 are parallel activity, and based on those parallel activity, the first rule you have to apply now. The first rule is what? The minimum slack. You have to choose the minimum slack between these 3 activity, 2, 3 and 4. If you see the 2, 3 and 4, you have to see this first table. ඒ first table එකේ බැලුවම activity 2, 3 and 4 වල minimum slack එක තියෙන්නේ මොකටද? minimum slack එක කියන්නේ 0 slack එක ගන්නෙ නැහැ එතනදී. දැන් අපි activity 2 and 4 බැලුවම ඒ දෙකෙන් minimum slack එක තියෙන්නේ. දැන් slack එකක් තියෙනවා කියන්නේ ආයේෂ මොකක්ද ඔයා කිව්වේ 2 5 කියලා? දැන් අපි මේ පළවෙනි රූල් එකේදී බලන්න ඕනේ activity 2, 3 and 4 කියන්නේ parallel activities. එතකොට අපේ first rule එක වෙන්නේ minimum slack එක බලන එක. හරිද? එතකොට minimum slack එක බලනකොට අපිට activity 3 කියන්නේ critical activity එකක්. ඒක අපිට delay කරන්න බෑ. ඉතින් අපි 0 බලන්නේ නැහැ. activity 2 සහ 6 වල activity 2 සහ 4 වල minimum slack එක තියෙන්නේ මොකටද? දැන් ඔය activity 4 2 එකයි 4 එකයි බැලුවම minimum slack එක තියෙන්නේ මොකටද? activity 2 එකට. හරිද? minimum slack එක තියෙන්නේ activity 2 එකට. එහෙනම් අපි මේ slack එක එහෙනම් first rule එක 3 rules වල first rule එකෙන්ම අපිට එකක් choose කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක තේරුණාද පුතේ? දැන් අපි බලනවා ඊළඟට තියෙන 2 3 4 activities කරන්න. හැබැයි third day එකේදී අපිට resource requirement එක 5 වෙනවා. ඒක අපිට achieve කරන්න බෑ. මොකද පුද්ගලයෝ ඉන්නේ අපිට 3 දෙනා. ඒකින්ද අපි බලනවා 2 3 4 activities ඔක්කොම parallel activities. අපිට ඒව තුනම එකපාරට පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි 3 activity එකේ slack එක 0. ඒක අපි ගන්න නැහැ. slack තියෙන activities වලින් අපි බලනවා අඩුම slack එක තියෙන්නේ මොකටද? හරිද? So based on the slack time, the minimum slack is having what? For the activity 2. Therefore, I will get a 1 slack from that. So we have now chosen the activity 2 has the minimum slack. Therefore, I am going to use 1 slack here. So when I am using 1 slack here means the slack time become now from 1, it is reduced up to 1. So because I am using 1 slack here, that means I am delaying the activity. This day I am not going to do that. I am delaying the activity by 1. So the 1 slack is used now. There is another slack is here, right? So are you all clear with that? Do I need to explain it again? Eka තේරුණාද? Please respond me. As you are not responding, I think you cannot. Right, clear. So for the activity 2, so for the activity 3, we are conducting as it is, right? The same thing that we have write down. So I have write down here. And for the activity 6, sorry, for the activity 4, I'm not going to change that as well. I'm writing down the same as the thing I have write down in the first table, right? So I have write down the same thing. And if I go for the 5 and 6 and 7, for the 5 and 6 and 7 also, for the 5 also you can see there is a 4 activities, 4 people required, right? So 4 and 5. For the 5, 6 and 7. 6 and 7 is having 0 slack. That means we can delay the activity 5 by 2 days. Therefore, I will go to delay. Therefore, I will go to delay 5th activity. Therefore, I am going to delay the 5th activity by 1 day. So when I am delaying the 5th activity by 1 day means the slack is going to be reduced up to 1, right? So this for the 5th activity, we have started from the 6th. Therefore, I am now starting from the 7th and I am utilizing 1 slack here, right? And for the activity 6 and 7, the same as it is, I have done for the first table, right? So after drawing this also, I am going to take the summation of these people requirement for each of these days, right? So after getting the summation also, you can see the third day is now okay. We are with the 3 people, but 4th day, 5th and 6th, 7 is also again okay because 3 here, 8 is again needed 4, 9 is again needed 4, right? That means we cannot achieve that resource constraint. That means we have to again level our resources, right? දැන් පුතේ මම මේ ස්ලැක් එක අඩු කරන එක දෙකේ ඉඳන් එකට අඩු කරන එක මම ඊළඟ ටේබල් එකකින් මෙහෙම පෙන්නලා තියෙනවනේ. එහෙම නැතුව ඔයගොල්ලන්ට දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ටියුට් මේ කොලේ පේපර් එකනේ හදන්නේ. මට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේක එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරන්න ලේසි වෙන්න තමයි මම මෙහෙම එකිනෙක ටේබල්ස් ගහලා එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරන්නේ. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඉන්ඩිකේට් වෙනවා කොහොමද මේක අඩු වෙන්නේ කියන එක. හරිද? ඒක පෙන්වන්න ඕන හින්දා තමයි මම මෙහෙම පෙන්නන්නේ. එහෙම නැතුව ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේ පළවෙනි එක ඇඳලා ඊළඟට වෙන කලර් එකකින් යොදාගෙන එහෙම අඩු කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් එහෙම කරත් කමක් නැහැ, right? If it is not clear, it is better to write down it in separate table, so then it will be easier for you to identify. දැන් මේක මෙහෙම වෙන වෙනම තියෙනකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පැහැදිලි නේද? Diana, are you clear with that? Ayesha? Right. So in the second table also, you can see we are exceeding our resource constraint in the 4th and 5th, 6th, 8 days and 9 days. Therefore, I have to again level this, right? So again level this means I can see for the first activity, there is no any issue. So I can draw this as it is, right? But for the second activity, I am having what? I am having a one slack, right? One slack means I can delay that activity further by 1 day, right? Further by 1 day means I am making this as a 0 here and I am getting the next slack as well. So the slack for the second activity is now 0. දැන් මේ second activity එකට අපිට එක slack එකක් ඉතුරු වෙලා තිබුණා. ඒක තව දවසකින් අපි delay කරලා slack එක use කරනවා. හරිද? slack එක use කරපු ගමන් අපේ slack ඔක්කොම 0 වෙනවා second activity එකෙන්. third activity එක නම් අපි as it is ම එහෙමම තියනවා. මොකද slack එකක් නැති හින්දා delay කරා. හරිද? sixth activity එකත් එහෙමම අපි තියනවා. sorry fourth activity එකත් අපි එහෙමම තියනවා. මොකද 2 3 4 කියන තුනෙන් activity තුනෙන් minimum slack එක තිබ්බේ 2 එකට. ඒකෙන් තමයි අපි ඒක delay කරන්න ගත්තේ. activity 5 6 7 වලින් minimum slack එක තිබ්බේ 5 activity එකේ. ඒකේ අපි එක slack එකක් use කරා. now we can again use that one slack. Again use that one slack means the 8-day become 0 here and that one is going for the 10-day. So the fifth activity, now the slack is 0, right? So the sixth and seventh activities are as it is in the second table, right? So after doing this table also, you can get the total requirement. You have to get the summation of day by day, right? Do you want more time to finish it off the third table? What about Aisha? Diane has finished. Aisha, do you want more time? Can you hear me? Right. I think Aisha has dropped, no? So what about others? Diane has finished that. What about others? Right. So I will move, proceed for the fourth table, right? So we have completed up to the third table now, right? So still you can see after calculating the total requirement, you can see for the fifth day, we are requiring 4 people. For the sixth day also, we are requiring 4 people. For the 9th day also 4. 10th day also 4. That means we are exceeding our resource constraint. That means we have to again level these resources. Again and again we have to level these resources, right? So as the requirement is exceeding for the third table as well, first, second, and third. So now I am in the fourth table, right? So in the fourth table, so this is the third table, right? So if I am going for the fourth table, you can see these are the areas. The fifth, sixth are the are getting highest duration, right? That means for the in the fourth table, I can start the first activity. So 2 people use, 2 people use, right? And for the second activity, you can see for here, it is requiring 4, right? That means I have to again delay the activity 2 by 1 day. So there is no any slack, but I am getting the slacks are 0 in the previous table itself. So if I'm using one means it become -1. So I have make this as 0 here and again add 2 here, right? So as it is the third activity I have write down, and for the sixth activity also I have write down as it is, and for the fifth activity also you can see for the fifth activity in here it is 4, right? In here it is 4. That means we have to again delay that activity. So for the fifth activity, slacks are 0 in the previous table. So if we are delaying one more day means the slack become -1. That means that this 10 this in here 9th day we are 0 and again adding 1. And for the 6th and 7th activity, we are writing down the same thing as it is in the above table. And I have again calculated the total requirement, right? So after calculating the total requirement, you can see, Puta, for the 6th day, there are 4 people. For the 10th day, again 4 people. And for the 11th day, again 4 people. That cannot be done because we are having 4 resources, right? That means we have to again level our resources, right? So again leveling our resources means I will go for the fifth table, right? So the issues are with 6 day, 10 day, and 11 day, right? So I will start with the first 2 days. There is no any issue, so I can continue. And you can see the issue is with the 10 day and the 11 day. That means if I can further delay the activity 2 by 1 more day, I can solve the issue here. Solve the issue in 10 day, right? Therefore, I will make this 6 day 0 and again add another slack here, right? Because it is wanting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days to complete the second activity. So I am utilizing another slack. That means it becomes -2. And the activity 3, I will put it as it is. Activity 4 is also I have put it as it is. And activity 5. So you can see activity 5 also in here we are having 4, right? Therefore, I have to again delay that activity by 1 more day. So we are currently having -1. If we are delaying again by 1 more day means it becomes -2. So it is here 1. Now it is 0 and again add 1 more, right? So activity 6 and 7 I will remain as it is, right? After that, I will take the total requirement. So you can say from here 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. And for the 11th activity, there is a issue, that is 4. So that cannot be done, right? That cannot be done means what are the things that we now do, right? So I will go for the next table now. So activity 2, I have delayed up to this point 12, right? Up to this point, I have delayed that activity. And you can see this is the place where we are having that issue, right? So therefore, I will, this is the place, right? So we are having 2, 2, 1, 3. And if we are delaying this 7th activity by 1 more days, we can solve this out, right? If we are delaying this 7th activity by 1 more days means we can solve this question, right? That means there is no any slack for the 7th activity. That means it is 0 slack, right? 0 slack. If I delay in 1 more day, the 7th activity means that becomes -1. Therefore, the 11th day, it becomes 0 and 1 and 1, right? All the things are same as it is for the previous activities. And then I have calculate the total requirement. After calculating that total requirement also, you can see for the 12th day, we are having 4 resources. We want 4 resources. That cannot be done, right? That means we have to again use this 2 here. We have to again use this 2 here. Sorry, we have to again delay that activity by 1 more day. We have to again delay that activity by 1 more day means you can see the issue is here. The one resource is more. So I will again delay that activity by 1 more day. And after getting the total requirement, you can see we are up to the requirement, right? So up to this point, are you all clear? This is the final resource leveling chart. This is the final resource leveling chart. Clear, right? So, very good. So you can see at the end, the total requirement at the end, you can see Puta, for the 5 and 6 day, we are only requiring 2 people, right? We are only requiring 2 people means 1 people is remaining in those days. 1 people is remaining in those days. That means that activity is having what? The activity 4 is having 2 slacks, right? So activity 4 is having 2 slacks remaining. Therefore the activity 4 is an uncritical activity. So you can see we cannot assign, we have already started this 4th activity. Therefore we are now doing this thing. And as we are having lesser number of people here, that means we are having 2 slacks remaining, right? Therefore, activity 4 is now a non-critical activity, right? Are you all get that? So we have now already started this 5th and 6th activity. We cannot assign that 1 people here, right? If we are assigning that 1 people, we cannot get the resource leveling chart. Therefore, you can see for the activity 4, we are having we are having 1 people remaining. That means the activity 4 now become a non-critical activity, right? So this is the last resource leveling chart, right? So after drawing the last resource leveling chart, you can draw what? You can again draw the project network. Can you see after small in that? After that, you can, after having the final resource leveling chart, you can draw this project network, right? So in this project network, I am drawing the same project network as we have drawn for the previous one at the beginning. අපි දැන් අර මුලින් ඇඳපු project network එකම ඔයා අන්තිමට resource leveling chart එක ඇඳටත් පස්සේ අඳින්න ඕනේ. හරිද? අපි ඒක ඇඳට පස්සේ අපි මේවල early start, late finish, late start time fill කරන්න යන්නේ. Right? Using this table. Right? So 2 people, 2 duration and activity ID you can write down. Right? So for the activity A, දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ project network එක ඇඳගත්තද පුතේ? ටක් ගාලා ඇඳ ගන්නකො ඒක. After finishing off the project network drawing, please indicate. I am asking for you only to draw this project network. Do not fill the blanks, right? Fill in the blanks. We will can do together, right? So have you finished? Okay, I will give you more time. So please draw only the project network, right? So when you are done, please send me a message. Right, I think you have finished, right? So after drawing this project network, Puta, you have to now fill this blank, right? So what are the blanks you have to fill? So I have now only filled the activity ID, people, resource requirement, and the duration. So other all these blanks you have to fill, right? So I would start with the early start time of activity 1. So the early start of activity 1 is 0. For that you have to add 2. That means the early finish is 2, right? ඒක හරි නේද? activity 1 එකේ early start එකයි early finish එකයි. So you can see we have started with 0 and use the 2 days. That means from the second day we have completed. Right. Okay. Thank you. And if we take the second activity, right? So the second activity, we cannot take the early finish time as it is when we are done with the resource leveling chart. දැන් අපි කලින් නම් කරේ early finish එක හැමම අපි ගත්තා early start එක විදියට forward pass calculation එක යනකොට අපි ඒකේ lowest value එක ගත්තා, right? Backward pass calculation එක යනකොට forward pass calculation එක යනකොට lowest value එක ගත්තා, highest value එක ගත්තා. Backward pass calculation එක යනකොට lowest value එක ගත්තා. හැබැයි මේකෙදි එහෙම කරන්න බෑ. You have to see it from the table that you have created, right? ඔයාට මේකෙදි මෙහෙ විදියට කරන්න බෑ. ඔයා අර හදපු table එකත් ඒ විදිහටම බලන්න ඕනේ, right? So if I take the activity 2, you can see what is the early start time? Early start time is here, right? So early start time is here means the 6. දැන් අපි මෙතන activity 2 එකේ පුතේ 1 කියන එකට දාලා තිබ්බට අපි ඒකේ ගත්ත early start එක 0 කියලානේ. ඒ කියන්නේ කලින් තියෙන එක ගන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඒකට දෙකක් එකතු කරලා අපි මෙතන 2 කියලා ගත්ත early finish එක. දැන් අපි මේ second activity එක ගත්තම ඔයාලට පේනවා 7th එකේ තියෙන. 7th එකේ තියෙනවා කියන්නේ 6. හරිද? මේ 0 එකේ තියෙනවා කියන්නේ 1 එකේ තියෙනවා කියන්නේ 0 නම් 7th එකේ තියෙනවා කියන්නේ 6 කියන එක. So I will take the 6 here. For that 6, you have to add the duration of 6. That therefore, the early finish time is what? Early finish time should be 12. For that 6, I am adding 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I am adding 6 here. That means the 12. Right? Is that clear? ඒක clear da? Right. For the third activity also. So what about others? Right. So if you are not clear about that, please ask me, right? I will tell that thing again, right? So now I am going for the third activity, right? For the third activity, we know the early start time is in here. Early start time is, if we are in 3 means, that means 2. For that 2, you are adding 4. That means early finish is 6. For the fourth activity, what is the early start time? This is early start time is again 2 here. For that 2, you have to add the duration of 2. That means 4 is the early finish time. So we have now completed up to activity 4. Now I am moving for the activity 5, right? For the activity 5, you can see what is the early start time. For the activity 5, the early start time is what? Can you tell me? Early start time for the activity 5? It is 10. So although we are in here is 11, we have to take the previous one. So 10. For that 10, you have to add 2. Early finish is 12. So now I'm going for the 6th activity. 6th activity, early start is what is the value early start? It should be early start for the 6th activity. Sixth activity එකේ early start time එක කීයද පුතේ? Aisha, it is not 10, right? දැන් අපි 6th activity එක ගත්තොත් මේකනේ sixth activity එක. මේකනේ sixth activity එක. sixth activity එක පටන් ගන්නෙ මෙතනින්. Right? That means the early start time for the sixth activity is 6. So Ayesha, you know, okay, I think, okay, Diane is also right. The other person name is not indicating. Only the MF number is there. That's why I cannot call your name. Right. So it should be 6. For that 6, you have to add the duration of 4. That means 10. Right. For the 7th activity, what is the early start time for the 7th activity? By seeing that, you can tell me. Do not see the calculation that I have done. Before seeing that, you have to tell me, right? මං දාපු answer එක බලන්න නැතුව කියන්නකෝ ඔයගොල්ලෝම හිතලා. That is 12. Very good. Right? දැන් අපි මෙතන තියෙන්නේ early start time එක 7th activity එකට 13 වලින්. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි previous එක ගන්න ඕන හින්දා 12. For that 12, I am adding 2. Therefore, the early finish time is 14. So now we have completed the forward pass calculation. Then අපි forward pass calculation එක ඉවරයි. So now we are going to do the backward pass calculation. In backward pass calculation, we are putting this early finish time as it is as the late finish time, right? So 14 is here. From that 14, I am deducting 2. That means 12 here, right? So for the 7th activity, I am now completed the 7th activity. So I will move for the 6th activity. For the 6th activity, you can see what is the late finish time. What is the late finish time for the 6th activity? So in the late finish time, you have to take the thing as it is, right? So the late finish time එක ගන්නකොට අපි ඒ තියෙන cell එකේම value එක තමයි ගන්න. හරිද? හැබැයි අපි forward pass calculation එක කරන්නකොට අපි ඒ cell එකට කලින් තියෙන එක තමයි ගත්තේ. දැන් මේ cell එකේ තියෙන late finish time එක මොකද්ද පුතේ? 6 activity එකේ. ඒක පොඩක් පැටලුණාද? දැන් අපි forward pass calculation එක කරනකොට දැන් මෙතන activity 1 එකේ පටන් ගත්තේ 1 එකෙන් උනාට early start time එක අපි ගත්තේ 0 කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ හැම එකෙන්ම අපි කලින් තියෙන value එක තමයි ගත්තේ. හැබැයි backward pass calculation එක කරනකොට අපි ඒ තියෙන value එකමයි ගන්නෙ late finish එක විදියට. That means it is 10. So in project management, you have to follow several steps. So when you are following several steps and when you are calculating several things, you have to remember theory. So actually the norms that you have to follow. Then project management වල පුතේ දැන් මේ forward pass calculation එක කරනකොට ගන්න ඕන value එක ගන්න ඕන විදිහ වෙනස්. Backward pass calculation එක කරනකොට දැන් මේ resource leveling chart එකේ වෙනස්නේ. ඒ වගේ දේවල් ඔයගොල්ලෝ note down කරගන්න අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම. So those are not included in my handout, right? Therefore, you have to make some notes, right? So when you are referring those notes when you are close to the exam, you can remember those things. And please remember that if you are not practicing and if you are not doing any homework of this calculation, you cannot do your exam properly, right? Then මෙතනදී එතකොට මොකද්ද? Early late finish එක වෙන්නේ 10 ම තමයි 6 activity එක. From that 10 you have to deduct the 4 duration of 4, that means 6. If I go for the 5th activity, what is the late finish time pute? It should be 12. Late finish time is 12, right? So those who are in the lecture, actually you got the things, and if you are not clear about those things also, you can ask me. That is the advantage of participating for the lectures, right? Right. For the 5th activity, it is 12 late finish time. From that 12, you have to deduct these 2, that means 10. Right. So we have now completed 7, 6, and 5 activities. So I will go for the 4th activity. What is the late finish time for the 4th activity? So we have now identified For the fourth activity, there are two slacks. නේ දැන් අපි fourth activity එකට slacks දෙකක් තියෙනවා කියන අඳුනගත්තා. එහෙනම් ඒ slacks දෙකත් එක්කම එන value එක තමයි අපේ late finish එක වෙන්න ඕනේ. තේරුණාද? දැන් අපි fourth activity එකට slacks දෙකක් තියෙනවා කියලා තේරුම් ගත්තා. මොකද total requirement එක 5th day එකේ 6th day එකේ 2 වුණා. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙතන තමයි slacks දෙක තිබ්බේ. එහෙනම් fourth activity එකේ late finish time එක කීයද පුතේ? ඒක අනිවාර්යෙන්ම 6th වෙන්න ඕනේ. From that 6 you are deducting 2 means the late start time is 4. So ඔයාට තේරුණාද දැන් activity 4 එකේ late finish time එක කොහොමද ගත්තේ කියලා? ඒක 6 උනේ කොහොමද කියන එක තේරුණාද? Ayesha is clear. What about others? Sorry. Right. So that's why I have highlighted those in yellow color, right? So for the third activity, what is the late finish time? For the third activity, late finish time is 6. From that 6, you are deducting 4 means the late start time is 2. And I will go for the second activity. Second activity, late finish time is 12. From that 12, I have to deduct 6. That means 6. For the first activity, late finish time is 2. From that 2, you have to deduct 2. That means 0. Right? So we have now completed forward and backward pass calculation. You have to take the difference between late finish time and late start time and calculate the slack. So for the activity 1, 0 slack. For the activity 2 is also 0. For the activity 3 is also 0. But for the activity 4, they are is having from 4 minus 2 means from late start time, from the late finish time, late start time 4, early start time is 2. That means 2 slacks are there. For the fifth activity, 0 slack. For the sixth activity, 0 slack. And for the seventh activity, 0 slack. So according to this project network, after leveling, resource leveling chart, after drawing the resource leveling chart, this is the project network. So after highlighting all these things which is having 0 slack, we can identify activity 1 is also critical, 2 is also critical, 3 is also critical. 4 is not a critical activity, that is the only non-critical activity. Activity 5 is also critical, activity 6 is also critical, and activity 7 is also critical, right? So I have highlighted the critical activities in red color. So according to this project network, activity 4 is only the non-critical activity. Right, so this is the end of this resource leveling chart. So if you have any questions regarding this process, resource leveling chart, you can ask now. And please remember that rules, right? Clear. Thank you. So I want to tell me something here. So then අපි හිතුවොත් මේ activity 5 and 6. දැන් මේ activity 5 and 6 activity 5 and 6 වල කීයද තියෙන්නේ? 0 slack තියෙනවා. හරිද? 5 and 6 වල 0 slack තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම activity 6 එක අපි already started කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒකින්ද අපි 6th activity එක delay කරන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. හරිද? activity 5 and 6 ගත්තොත් activity 6 එක අපි already start කරලා තියෙන හින්දා activity 6 එක delay කරන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක ඒ විදිහටම කරනවා. හරිද? හැබැයි අපි හිතුවොත් activity 6 එක start කරලා නැහැයි කියලා අපිට මේ අපි දැන් හිතුවොත් activity 5 and 6 වල activity 6 එක start කරලා නැහැ. දෙකටම තියෙන්නේ 0 slack. එහෙනම් අපි යන්න ඕනේ minimum slack එකේ 0 slack දෙකටම තියෙනවා නම් එහෙනම් අපි යන්න ඕනේ second rule එකට. මොකද්ද? minimum duration එකට යනවා. මේ මම නිකන් කියන්නේ හොඳ minimum slack දෙකේම තියෙන zero slack ඒකින්ද අපි මොකටද කරන්න ඕනේ minimum duration එකට යන්න ඕනේ. minimum duration එකට යනකොට 5 and 6 වල අපි හිතුවොත් 5 වල කීයද duration එක 2 6 වල තියෙනවා duration එක 4 එහෙනම් අපි මේ දෙකේම zero slack තියෙන හින්දා මේ zero slacks තියෙන හින්දා මේ දෙකේම 5 and 6 වල zero slack තියෙන හින්දා අපි ඊළඟ rule එකට යනවා minimum duration. එතකොට activity 5 එකේ duration එක 2 activity 6 එකේ duration එක 4 හින්දා අපිට activity 5 එක තමයි පුතේ select කරන්න වෙන්නේ minimum duration එක අනුව. ඕන අපි හිතුව duration එකත් සමානයි කියලා activity 5 and 6 වල. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට හිතන්න වෙනවා දැන් activity 5 and 6 වල duration එකත් සමානයි. එහෙනම් අපි මොකක්ද යන්න ඕනේ? Lowest identification rule. That is the third rule in resource leveling schedule, right? So among these activity 5 and 6, what is the lowest duration? What is the lowest identification number? Activity 5 and 6 වල lowest identification number එක මොකක්ද? third rule එකට ගියොත් අපි sorry activity 5, right? ඒ වගේ තමයි. right, very good. activity 5. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ දැන් අපි හිතුවොත් if we are having a activity which we have already started, there are some activities which we have already started. So for the activities which we have already started, you have to give the priority, right? දැන් අපි activity එකක් ගත්තොත් ඒක කරගෙන යන activity එකක් නම් ඒකට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම priority එක දෙන්න ඕනේ. නමුත් මේ ඒ තවත් project duration එක එම නිසා වැඩි වෙනවද කියලා බලන්න ඕනේ. දැන් කරගෙන යන activity එක කරන්න priority එක දෙන්න ඕනේ. හැබැයි ඒ activity එක කරන එකෙන් අපේ project duration එක වැඩි වෙනවද කියන එකත් බලන්න ඕනේ. හරිද? එහෙම project duration එක වැඩි වෙනවද කියලාත් බලලා ඒක delay කරලා අනිත් activity delay කරාම project duration එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් ඒව මුලින් කරන්න ඕනේ. So those are the things I haven't included in the handout. Therefore, please make some note. දැන් මම මොකද්ද කිව්වේ? අර rules තුන පාවිච්චි කරන එක ගැන ඔයගොල්ලන්ට assume කරන්න කියලා 5 6 activity අරන් explain කරා. දැන් මේ කියන්නේ කරගෙන යන activity එකට priority එක දෙන්න ඕනේ. නමුත් තවත් project duration එක එම නිසා වැඩි වෙනවා නම් එම නිසා වැඩි වෙනවද බලලා කරගෙන යන activity එක delay කරලා අනිත් activity එක delay කරාම project duration එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැත්තම් ඒව මුලින් කරන්න ඕන. right? So those are the things that you have to remember when we are drawing the resource leveling chart, right? So please remember that when you are at the exam, I can ask you to draw what? Resource loading chart. This is the resource loading chart. So firstly you have to draw the initial resource loading chart. Then after, based on the thing that they have given, based on the resource constraint that they have given, you have to level the resource loading chart. It may be you have to go for 2 and 3 step as well. So at the end you have to comment that whether the people are idling or not, like those things you have to give a comment. You have to give your conclusion at the end. So at the exam, I am expecting that from you, right? So this is for the resource loading chart. And finally, we have done the resource leveling chart. So in resource leveling chart, you have to level that resources. And when you are leveling that resources, there are 3 rules that you have to remember. First, you have to select minimum slack. If it is not that rule, if we cannot comply with that rule, you have to go for the second rule of minimum slack. And if that rule cannot be also used, you have to go for the third rule, right? So in the resource leveling chart, you have to first draw the project network and then identify the project critical path. Then after, you can draw your resource leveling chart, the initial resource leveling chart by indicating activity slack and the initial thing. So in that initial table, you can highlight the critical, you can highlight the slack, right? Then after, if After that, they are giving the resource constraint. You have to level that resource constraint step by step, right? So after step by step resource leveling, at the end, you have to identify whether there are any slacks, right? After drawing the final resource leveling chart, you have to draw your project network again, right? So after drawing your project network again, you have to fill the blanks by using the last resource leveling chart. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ project network එක ඇඳට පස්සේ අන්තිමට project resource leveling chart එක අන්තිමට ඇඳපු resource leveling chart එක යොදාගෙන ඔයගොල්ලෝ project network එක fill කරන්න ඕනේ blanks ටික. fill කරලා ඒකෙන් critical activities highlight කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම slack activities, non critical activities උත් identify කරගන්න ඕනේ. So those are the things I am expecting from your side when you are at the exam. I can ask to draw a resource leveling chart and you have to done up to this point, right? Are you all clear with that? So I am telling that the expectation from my side at the exam. exam එකේදී මම මොනවද expect කරන්න කියලා තමයි මම මේගොල්ලන්ට explain කරන්නේ. ඒක පැහැදිලිද? If you are up to my expectation level, I can give you full marks, right? So please remember to do all these things at the exam, right? So let's go to the TUT. And in the TUT, the question that we have explained, right? The question that we have discussed is explaining step by step, right? So this is the question that we have now done using the Excel sheet, right? So at the end, I have drawn the final project network, right? So, right, these are the final 2 to 3 slides to be completed, right? So we will do this final slides and done with the today. So impact of resource constraint scheduling. So when we are having resource constraint scheduling, what will happen? Reduces delay. So when we are having some resource constraint, it may reduces the delay, but reduces flexibility. So if we are having a resource constraint means we cannot be flexible, right? It will reduce the delay as well as the flexibility is also going to be reduced. Increase scheduling complexity. Due to the resource constraint, we have to use what? We have to use actually the complex. We have to use scheduling complexity. Our complexity is going to be high, right? The third one is may make traditional critical path no longer meaningful, right? So can you remember the traditional critical path we are having? The traditional critical path we are having here now is this 1, 3, 6, and 7. But at the end, the traditional critical path is no longer. All the activities become critical except the four activity, right? That means what? That means may make traditional critical path. The traditional critical path no longer meaningful. It is no longer meaningful now, right? Can break sequence of event. There is actually the sequence of event. After doing one activity, we can start the other activity, right? Likewise, the sequence of event is also going to be break now. May cause parallel activities to become sequential and critical activities to become non-critical. So, most of the parallel activities now become sequential activity, as well as some of the activities which is critical activity now become non-critical, and non-critical activity now become critical activity, right? So those are the impacts of resource constraint scheduling. So are you all clear with that? These are the impacts due to the resource constraint scheduling. These are the impacts that you have to take. So please remember at your examination, I am not asking you only to draw draw this project network, resource leveling chart, resource loading chart. At the beginning of the question, I can ask some theory part as well. I can ask this question also. I can ask the impact of resource constraint scheduling. Write down what are the impact of having a resource constraint schedule. So you have to write down this impact, as well as I'm not expecting you to write down only these points, right? So you have to tell what is the explanation for this, make traditional critical path no longer meaningful, right? You can say the explanation for that as well, right? So these are the key parameters in multi-project environment. So we know we are live in an environment where we have to do several projects. That is called as multi-project environment. That means we are living in an environment that we have to do the multi-project, right? So when we are in an environment like that, we have to go for the key parameters. The first one is schedule, slippage, resource utilization, and in-process inventory. So I will explain those things for you, right? Right. So each of these parameters, these three parameters, I will explain for you one by one. So schedule slippage means the time passed, right? That means the time is passed, the time is the time past a project's due date when the project is completed. So when we are completing that project, the due date is now past, right? The time past a project due date when the project is completed. When we are completing it, that project, the project due date is now past. That is called as schedule slippage. Slippage may cause penalties. So if we are not meeting their due date, means we have to pay penalties. Sometimes they will ask some penalties to pay, right? So slippage may cause penalties. Different projects will have different penalties. So depending on the project, there can be different penalties that we have to pay. Sometimes if we are delaying that project, there can be no any penalties, but for some project we have to pay some penalties, right? Expediting one project can cause others to slip. So when we are expediting one project, that will cause to slip other project as well, right? Therefore, when we are slipping one project, we have to consider other project as well. So taking on a new project can cause existing project to slip. So when we are taking a new project to undertake, and that may cause to existing project to slip. So when we are undertaking new project, that will cause to slip, or that will cause to not meet in the due dates of the existing project. So that is called as the schedule slippage. So that is the one key parameter of multi-project environment, right? So the second one is can you explain this point in Sinhala? දැන් පුතේ multi project environment එකක්. Do you have a lecture after 11:30? 11:30 වලින් පස්සේ lecture එකක් තියෙනවද? If so, please tell me quickly. Okay. So I can finish, right? So thank you. So I will tell it Sinhala. දැන් අපි multi project environment එකක් කියන්නේ අපි ඉන්න environment එකේ projects කිහිපයක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපි පිළිපදින්න ඕන key parameters තියෙනවා, right? key parameters තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේ key parameters තමයි පළවෙනි එක schedule slippage. දෙවෙනි එක resource utilization. තුන්වෙනි එක in process inventory. හරිද? මේ key parameters එකිනෙක විස්තර කරන එක තමයි මම දැන් කරන්නේ, right? So here schedule slippage එකේදී වෙන්න පුතේ අපි දැනට කරන project එකේ due date එක exceed වෙනවා. හරිද? අපි මේ project එක complete කරනකොට අපිට දීපු due date එක exceed වෙනවා නැත්නම් pass වෙනවා. අපි මේ due date එක ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට කියනවා ඕන අද කවද්ද ජනවාරි 30 ජූන් 30 වෙනකොට කම්ප්ලීට් කරන්න ඕනේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක. හැබැයි අපි මේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් on due date එක තමයි 30th June, right? due date එක 30th June. හරිද? හැබැයි අපි ඒක කම්ප්ලීට් කරනකොට September 10 වෙනවා. 10th of on අපි completed කරන්නේ කවද්ද කියන්නකෝ? complete කරන්නේ අපි on ඒක 10th of September. right? 10th of September කියන්නේ දැන් අපි due date එක 30th June තියෙනවා. හැබැයි අපි complete කරන්නේ 10th of September කියන්නේ එතන slippage එකක්. due date එක අපි පහු වෙලා. right? so ඒක තමයි පුතේ schedule slippage කියලා කියන්නේ. හරිද? එතකොට මේ schedule slippage එකක් ආවම සමහරක් වෙලාවට අපිට penalties ගෙවන්න වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට ඒගොල්ලොන්ගේ project එක පරක්කු වීම නිසා අපිට ඒගොල්ලොන්ට යම්කිසි මුදලක් ගෙවන්න වෙනවා. හැබැයි සමහර projects වල එහෙම ගෙවන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. හැබැයි මේ penalties ගෙවන ප්‍රමාණය ඒ කියන්නේ project එකෙන් project එකට මේ penalties ගෙවන ප්‍රමාණය වෙනස් වෙනවා. හරිද? අපි දැන් එක project එකක් expedite කරොත්, ඒ කියන්නේ අපි එක project එකක් වැඩිපුර කාලයක් අරන් සිදු කරොත් අනිත් project දැන් අපි multi project environment එකක ඉන්නේ එක project එකක් කරන්න යන කාලේ වැඩි කරලා expedite කරාම අනිත් project සමහරක් වෙලාවට slippage වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අනිත් projects අපිට due date එකට met කරන්න බැරි වෙනවා. due date එකට complete කරන්න බැරි වෙනවා. හරිද? ඊළඟ එක තමයි taking on a new project can cause existing project to slippage. දැන් අපි multi project environment එකක ඉන්නවා නම් අපි තව අලුත් project ගන්නවා. එතකොට අපි අලුත් project ගන්නකොට අපි දැනට කරගෙන ආපු existing project අපිට due date එකට complete කරන්න බැරි වුණාම existing project schedule slippage වෙනවා. So are you now clear? 5565. What is your name, Buddha? Right. So now I will go for the what? Now I will go for the resource utilization. Resource utilization means what? The second parameter. Resource utilization in multi-project environment, second parameter. The percentage of resource that is actually used. Resource utilization කියන්නේ අපි කොච්චර how much of percentage of resources that we are actually use. Resource utilization. We want a schedule that smooths out the dips and peaks of resource utilization. We know when we are in a multi-project environment, we are having several dips. Dips means we are having demand lower time period as well as we are having peak time period. If we take the New Year season or the Christmas season, we are having higher demand. So those are called as peak time, right? As well as we are having lesser demand time. So when we are smoothing out, when we are scheduling our resource, we have to consider the dips as well as the peaks. And based on that dips and peaks, we have to smooth our resource utilization. දැන් අපි dips සහ peaks දැන් අපි දන්නවා New Year season, Christmas season වලදී අපිට වැඩිපුර demand එකක් එනවා. ඒකින්ද අපි මේ දවස්වල resource හරියට use කරන්න ඕනේ smooth කරලා. This is especially true. This is the resource utilization is true where hiring and firing is expensive. So if we are living in a multi-project environment now, right? If we take labor, so if we are in an environment where the labor cannot be hired easily as well as fire easily. If we are living in an environment where the hiring is also cannot be done easily as well as firing cannot be done easily, right? Both these two are expensive. Both these two are expensive means you have to consider that thing. You have to see that, right? When we are live in that like this environment, you have to do the resource utilization in a proper way, right? Are you all clear with the resource utilization? Do I need to explain it Sinhala? Resource utilization එක තේරුණාද? Right. Okay, I will go for the next one, the last one, in-process inventory. In-process inventory means it is similar to the work in progress, right? This is the amount of work waiting to be processed. It is the amount of work waiting to be processed, right? Waiting to be processed because there is a shortage of some resources. Because there is some shortage of some resources. Therefore, some of the resources we have to keep it as what? Work in progress, right? Similar to the work in progress in manufacturing. So we have to keep some of the workings as processing things because we are having lack of some resources or a shortage of some resources. Therefore, we have to keep those resources as work in progress, similar to the work in progress. So when we are keeping that processing work means we have to hold those things, right? So when we are holding those things, when we are keeping these processing things mean we have to hold those things. That means we have to incur a holding cost as well. In process කියන්නේ පුතේ දැන් අපි ඒ කරන සමහරක් activities process කරන්න බෑ. මොකද සමහරක් resources වල අඩුකමක් තියෙන හින්දා. හරිද? එතකොට ඒකට අපි කියනවා in process inventory කියලා. ඒවා අපි දැන් manufacturing එකකට ගත්තොත් ඒක සිමිලර් වෙනවා work in progress වලට. එතකොට in process inventory එකක් අපි තියාගන්නවා කියන්නේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම we have to incur a holding cost. Therefore there is a holding cost. Right? I think it is clear for you. Right. So that is all for the that. Okay, thank you. So that is all for the multi-project environment, right? So under multi-project environment, these are the key parameters that you have to see, right? For each of these parameter, I have given you the explanation. So now we are going to see prioritizing resource allocation in multi-project environment. When we are in a multi-project environment, how you are going to prioritize the resource allocation? These are first come first serve. The first thing is the first project that we are going to take. We are serve that project first. That is called as first come first serve. The next prioritizing thing is greatest resource demand. The next one is greatest resource utilization and minimum late finish time. So when we are prioritizing this multi-project environment, we can use these things, right? Okay, so assigning project work. So this is the last slide. So assigning the project work. When we are assigning some project work, factors to consider assigning work. Do not always pick the same people for tough assignment. දැන් අපි project එකකට assign කරනකොට කට්ටිය ඔයගොල්ලෝ කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ පුතේ. හැම වෙලාවෙම එකම පුද්ගලයෝ same people න ගොඩක් අමාරු tasks වලට assign කරන්න හොඳ නැහැ. That is one factor that you have to see when you are assigning people for the project work. Choose people with an eye to fostering their development through participation on the project. Choose people who are likely to learn something, who are likely to give more things for the other participation as well. So that means actually you have to choose people with a better or good attitude, right? Pick people with compatible work habits and personality, but who complement with each other. So please recruit the people who are likely to work with other people and who are having very good personality and who are like to share some knowledge among the people. So if you are hiring like those people, mean other employees will also benefit out of that, right? So team of veterans with new hires to share experience and socialize newcomers into the organization. So you have to find the people actually with good qualities. So if you are hiring the people with good qualities and good skills, that will help you to complete your project in a successful manner. Select people who may need to learn work together on later stage of the project or their project. So select people who are likely to learn from other people. So if I can learn something from the lower level people also, I should be humble enough to learn that thing, right? දැන් මට මොකක් හරි මම දන්නේ නැති දෙයක් මට වඩා පල්ලෙහා ඉන්න සේවකයෙක්ගෙන් දැනගන්න පුළුවන් නම් මම ඒක දැනගෙන ඉගෙන ගන්න තරම් මම humble වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේ මිනිස්සු අපි hire කරාම project එකට ඇත්තටම පහසුවෙන් අපේ projects ඉස්සරහට තියෙන projects ඒ ඔක්කොම කරන්න පුළුවන්. So actually these are the factors that you have to consider when you are assigning the people to your project, right? So actually I think, is that clear for you, Kuta? Okay, so actually this is the end of this handout, the scheduling resources, end of this handout. Right, so actually this is the end. Right, so thank you very much for participating for the lectures, and please remember the things that I have told you to remember at the exam, right? So thank you very much again, and bye.